Bishop Hubbard ordained me 10 years ago this summer. It was the 37th year of his service as bishop, and I loved him. It felt very special to me that I was ordained during his time in office. It felt like I was part of a season in the church's life that was really special, historic, to be remembered. 6 years later, in his retirement, he was accused of terrible crimes. He vigorously denied those charges. And then, just 3 or 4 weeks ago at this Mass, I had to announce that Bishop Hubbard had gotten married. We were all like, what? But that's not the only whoa that we've experienced. Right now, every diocese, every Catholic diocese in New York State, north of New York City, is bankrupt, including us. Whoa. What is going on? One of the weird things is, so many scandals and problems have erupted that when I talk about it in church, people don't even react that much. It's like we're a little bit shock-proof. Like, another thing I didn't see coming. Well, whoa, what is going on? At times like that, we can start to get the feeling, you know what, maybe we should just start fresh. Do you suppose we should just start over? And I think the gospel today gives us a chance to put ourselves in Jesus' shoes at the very earliest time in the life of the church, and to imagine what it was like for him and how he managed his disappointment about things. You would think that when the Son of God comes to earth and establishes a church with 12 followers, not hundreds, just 12, wouldn't you think that they would be like 12 of the very best people? Like just incredible, amazing people? Well, when you read the Bible and you read about them, they've got a lot of problem areas. And like today in the gospel, they can't answer simple questions like, who is Jesus? That's like a hard question for them. Only one of them answers, you're the Son of God. And Jesus says, Peter, I'm going to build a church on that faith that you just expressed. I'm going to build a church on your faith. At every Mass, we say, look not on our sins, but on the faith of your church. Every priest worldwide says that. It's the part right after the Our Father and right before the sign of peace. And we're saying, please forgive and overlook how much we messed this up, and look at the faith that we have. Peter messed up, and we mess up. But we're asking for you not to focus on our sins, but on our faith. And Jesus says in the gospel today, you at times are going to feel like it's all coming to an end. You're going to feel like the floodwaters are too high. You're going to feel like the fire is burning too close, and you're going to feel like this whole thing is not going to work out. And I'm promising you right now, trust me, it will. I've built this to last. I haven't built it to be sinless, but I've built it to be faithful. And so we say, Lord, look not on our sins, but on the faith of your church. One author says that the church kind of resembles an old, almost extinct volcano. It's like a volcano that we might doubt could ever erupt again. It just feels like maybe it's all dried up. Maybe there's no lava in there anymore. And then every once in a while, someone comes around, like a Mother Teresa, or a Pope John Paul II, or an Oscar Romero, or a Pope Francis, and it's like they just crack into the side of that mountain and all this fresh fire comes out. Just when we thought it was about to be extinct. No, it's still raging. It still has so much to offer. In my last parish, which was actually 2 parishes, we needed a business and operations manager to handle some of the day-to-day operations of the church. And so we put an ad out on Indeed.com, and we got someone wonderful. We got Lisa, who was a young businesswoman in her 30s, had an MBA, and she had worked in corporate America. She and her husband had a small Airbnb, or an B&B rather. It's hard to not say the air part these days. Right there in the Catskills. And because they were self-employed, they needed some benefits and insurance. So she thought, this will be great. I'll work for this little church. That'll be an easy job for me. I've been in corporate America. This won't be hard. And I'll be able to stabilize my family's finances. So she came, and we were very impressed. But it was a rough first 6 months for her because she kept having all these weird interactions with people that she couldn't explain. Sometimes people would leave her office crying, or she'd get into conflicts that didn't make sense to her. And she said it took her a while to figure out that she had approached everything with a corporate America kind of lens. And so whenever someone would come in and want to volunteer for something, she'd think, what do they really want? She had been working around people who always had self-interest as their number one thing. So she couldn't relate to it when people were like, we just want to help, or we just want to donate this, or can I get involved in this? And she would think, what are you really here for? She said it took her a while to figure out, oh my gosh, these people are just good. They just want to be part of something wonderful. And once she got over that hump, she understood it. She never expected, and we never expected, that she would actually convert to become Catholic during those 2 years that she was with us, and her daughter got baptized in the faith as well. This may be a controversial opinion, but in my view, from the street, St. Mary's is not the most impressive church in town. For my taste, the Presbyterian Church makes a bigger wow from the curb. The Methodist Church, too. I don't know if you ever are there on Bay Street. That Methodist Church is really beautiful. It makes a good impression. St. Mary's, it's nice. But I find that again and again, when people come in the church, they're always like, whoa, this church is gorgeous. And I think that's how the church in general is. From the outside, you have a limited appreciation of it. In fact, you may only see the problem areas. But if you come in, you go, oh, this is really beautiful. There's something really amazing here. From the outside, you see that our slate is falling off the roof. 4 pieces yesterday in the rain. You see that it's got some issues. You see that our steps are crumbling. And it's like that in the wider church too. You see the headlines and the sins and the sound bites. But if you come in, you go, oh. From the outside, you focus on the sins of the church. On the inside, you can experience the faith of the church. Look not on our sins, Lord, but upon our faith. Something we have to admit is, if we were going to start a new church, we couldn't do any better. It might start off good, but how long would that last? The problems the church has are human problems. So as long as humans are going on to create a new church, we're going to bring our human problems with us. And we know that's true because there's been lots of splinters off the church. And has anyone found the perfect one yet? Has any of the denominations out there become the perfect utopia that we were all waiting for? No, they all have problems. We know that the problems that we have are going to be with us as long as we have human beings in our church. So we say, look not on our sins, but on the faith of your church. This would be an interesting week for us to consider what impact the church has had on our life over the years. When I do that, I realize I wouldn't even have my family without the church. I was a 3-day-old baby adopted through Catholic Charities. Without the church, my life would have been completely different. Those 50 people that came to the school yesterday for the spruce up, we had a prayer circle in the morning, and I just asked people, how many of you went to this school? And a bunch of hands went up. Class of 62, class of 74. And then I said, how many of you have a child or a grandchild in the school? And other hands went up. My daughter's in 5th grade. And then I said, how many of you have no connection to this school other than being a part of St. Mary's? A bunch of hands went up. I don't know which of those is the most beautiful. The fact that people who are connected to the school were there, or how about the people that weren't? I have a feeling that in corporate America, they'd be like, what do they want? What's in it for them? And the answer is nothing. They were there to help. You have heard before that there is an ice cream shop owned by parishioners off of Quaker Road called Sprinkles. They just called me up one day and said, we want to donate all of our proceeds to your school one day. Would that be okay with you? What do they want? So on the last day of school, from 6 o'clock at night till 9 o'clock, all the proceeds from Sprinkles went to our school, thousands of dollars. And then they called and said, we'd like to do it again for the start of school. And so that's Tuesday night. They have nothing to gain. They're giving away all, not just their profit, they're giving it away. They're giving away all the money that they make in those 3 hours. But they want to do it. Look not on our sins, but on the faith of your church. The church is a divine gift, and it's in human wrapping. So we have to pray that the church's faith will always stand out more than our sins do. Let us make a commitment today that we will be a part of that. Let it begin with you and with me.